Alright, this is a Dune Racer power wheel. What I'm doing is basically hooking up a variable throttle, because that will allow us to use a controller on a lithium battery pack that won't spike amps. So this is a $5 trigger, and basically on the bottom you've got power and ground coming in, and then on the top it cycles the ground side of the circuit, which makes it a little bit difficult to work with, but it's no big deal. It's more difficult because the way the power wheel is set up. So let me kind of walk you through. I'll just show you what I've got right now. There's a cool little LED light that turns on when it just starts, and then so I'll show you the wheels turning. Slow, fast, slow, fast. And it should be like a cool little effect there, and then you can watch the voltage drop down. So now we're at slow, a little bit faster, and yeah. So right now what I'm running through it is just these deep cycle batteries, and I'm running everything on alligator clips, and I've got the battery charger hooked up at the same time, and it's going through this pack here, which I had. This is a 24 volt series right here. It's just looped off for my lithium packs that I was messing around with. But here's your connector, and so you've got power and ground that go into the car, white and black. Black is ground. And this is just a separate deal that I was making. So essentially I'm just, I ripped this part off the top of the old battery, so I still have the old connector. And let me show you how the circuit works. It goes in, and this is what is basically confusing. So these switches, one switch is going to be your high speed and low speed, and the other one is going to be forward and reverse. So what you can do is just take apart the gear shift, and you can just start playing with the switches. And the thing is with the switches, it doesn't matter if you flip them upside down, you plug the connectors in backwards. I mean, it's going to matter like at the end for the gear shift. You don't want to have it forward when you're in reverse, and but just to play around with it, to kind of get an idea of the way it works. Don't be too shy, but let me show you how the circuit works. Basically, you've got the white and the black wire. Forget about all this stuff. This is the stuff coming in from the battery pack. The white wire rolls up all the way to the main accelerator switch. Now, this stock switch that was in there, see how it says patented? It's got 3 terminals on it. So why would they patent a switch? Well, it's because when you let go, the rear wheels lock up as like a brake mechanism, right? That's how they get away with it. So we have to get around this. That would, we're not going to have a brake like we used to have, which maybe will be problematic, but this is where we are right now. So the way it works is positive comes in the bottom, and the way the circuit was set up was your negative lead goes into the back of this switch here. It used to. I'll get to that in a second, but it went in, and they're just chained together with a connector that fit into the back of this. And so the orange lead, which is at the top, is actually your ground, and that's how I'm running this voltage meter off. I had tapped into the back, power and ground there. So that's what's confusing, is that you have power and ground coming to the back of the switch, and then the middle one was your output, which is red, right? But of course it outputs power, not ground. And the problem with this is it outputs ground. So I guess you could have made some sort of relay box up in here that would, reverse the polarity, and send ground down here. But the problem is that when you would get down here, since you already had ground on here, you would have had to do what I did anyway. So this is what you have to do. All right, I'm gonna keep going with this video. All right, the way these switches work is in the middle is your inputs, one on this side and one on that side, right? So the way it was set up initially was on this side of the switch was the ground, these guys, which was orange and black, hung out over there. And then the power, which would spit out of the switch, would be on this side. And when the switch was thrown in this direction, right, it would connect this to that, right? Let me just focus here. All right, so it would, this one connect to this one, and then this side connects to this side, right? And if you throw the switch this way, then this guy would connect to here, and this guy would connect to there, right? So this, you can see how that was your forward and reverse, is that it would reverse the polarity for the output, right? This was your input, and then if I switched it here, right, then this would connect to here, and then this red one flips over to here, and it's already daisy chained in there, so it doesn't matter if the switch is thrown or not. And then it goes down to the next one, which handles the here's essentially your inputs, right, to this switch, which is your speed control. But also, actually, you can't delete the switch, because if it's not there, you only have one wheel turn at a time. So you couldn't just output directly from here. And you want to have, and it's fine to have speed control. Why not, right? If it's doing the job of splitting the power to both motors, that's great. If you need to pull it down so you get less amps, great. Let's keep everything as stock as we can. Now, here's the one modification. Like I said, this was a wire, which is now connected to here, but that's the mod, right? So originally it was this red wire that came out of here, which would be hot when the switch threw. Red would go down, and now I have it in where the ground was. It used to be where the green wire was. Okay, so what I did was I was able to, let me show you what these look like. You can see how I mangled this up, but if you get in there from the back side and push your clip up, and then you can push this out the bottom, right? So you're depinning the connector. That's what we call it, depinning the connector. So you got to fight with it a little bit, no big deal. If you got some little pocket screwdrivers or something, you can jam in there. And what you need to do is unlock that tab. And you can see I just totally mangled these. But this guy's going to hang out in the breeze. It's basically just a union between these two. And so let me go over one more time what's happening here. So instead of this red wire in the middle, this guy, used to be where the green wire was, right? And you could see where if it was thrown in forward, right, red would be coming in here, the positive coming from the switch would be thrown to these red wires, and it would go down to your output, down to the speed control. No big deal. But now, because of this pain in the butt, this union here, I mean, I guess you could have just, deleted this, which is what I basically did. I just got it out of the switch. So I'm putting green is what? Green goes to this, which goes to power, right? So green is my power at out all times. And what I'm doing is I'm controlling the ground side, because that's what this stupid trigger thing does. It only controls the ground side of the switch. Pain in my butt. But you know, I could have run from the black lead that comes out of here. You know, I could have run this directly down to, you know, to these are your inputs, right? So at the end of the day, if you got rid of this, right, and you got rid of the other red one, you got rid of the red one, I just kept it where it is, you know, because now I have the output coming from here, goes to there. Okay, so I'm changing wires around. This used to be red, used to be positive, now it's ground. You know, and then I moved it to a different position. I guess I could have taken a wire from black, which is positive, coming out of your switch here, out of your trigger, and just tapped it into there, and then hook this up, run a wire from here. That's probably more efficient to. So the only thing you have to depin is this guy. Pull this out, get it out of the way, just keep it as a union, and then in its place you would run this. And like I said, it doesn't really matter what direction this goes in, because you can always flip this around inside of the gear shift. That's no big deal. But yeah, the tricky thing with these triggers is that it's ground side modulated, pain in my butt. So, and then given here that you only had control of the positive side, you had to go down to the switch and get into the back of the switch. And the thing is, you got to keep these because they distribute the power to both motors and give you speed control. So I'll give you one last demonstration. And now I can change the direction. Yeah, it's going to be great. So, I mean, the key is that you're not pulling, you know, 50 amps when you just click it on, click. And we'll see. I mean, maybe these, that should break. I think the gear mechanism is going to do the braking. All right, thank you very much for watching. That is, my name is Gio. I live in New Jersey. This is a dune racer, and I wish you great luck with being a super dad. Okay, see ya.